What if I told you that some of the old Hollywood's most glamorous stars weren't just rubbing shoulders with movie moguls and fans, but also had ties to the dark underworld of organized crime? We're pulling back the curtain to expose the surprising and often shocking links between old Hollywood's biggest names and the notorious figures of organized crime. These are tales of ambition, fame, and danger. Stories where celebrities mingled with mob bosses, flirted with danger, and sometimes paid a high price for living life on the edge. George Raft was a major star in Hollywood, yet his fame could have soared even higher had he made different career choices. Known for declining roles that later turned other actors into icons, Raft initially achieved stardom with his portrayal of Ronaldo in the 1932 classic Scarface. His powerful depiction of a coin-flipping mobster left such an impression that real-life criminals began emulating his style and mannerisms. Raft's tough guy persona was not merely an act. He grew up in rough neighborhoods and counted several notorious gangsters among his friends. He worked for Irish mob leader Owney Madden as a young man and developed friendships with Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky. His criminal associations even got him banned from entering the United Kingdom. Despite his proximity to organized crime, there's no evidence that Raft himself was involved in illegal activities. However, his connections allowed him to add realism to his portrayals and even allegedly intervened to prevent the planned assassinations of fellow actors James Cagney and Gary Cooper. Frank Sinatra was in the ideal place to mix with mobsters as a singer in Las Vegas. There isn't any hard proof to back up the rumors that he was actively involved in organized crime. He was obviously connected to the underworld, though. He kept up a tight relationship with Chicago mob boss Sam Giancana and partied with Hollywood Mafia associate John "Handsome Johnny" Rosselli, who was the de facto godfather of Las Vegas in the 1950s and 60s. His connections were so well known that the FBI had a thorough file on Sinatra that resembled a who's who of the organized crime community. But Sinatra consistently denied having any connection to the mob, claiming not to be familiar with infamous crooks like Lucky Luciano, Meyer Lansky, and Bugsy Siegel. Investigators mocked his innocence, but were unable to gather sufficient proof to bring charges, therefore clearing the musician. It is yet unclear who or what Marilyn Monroe had to do with the criminal underground. The producer Joseph Schenck is said to have first introduced the stunning celebrity to gangster John "Handsome Johnny" Rosselli, and the two became intimately linked. Rumors have it that Rosselli even helped Monroe earn her breakthrough role in Ladies of the Chorus. Still, her ties to organized crime went beyond that. She's reported to have stayed the night at Frank Sinatra's Calneva Lodge in Lake Tahoe with Chicago crime boss Sam Giancana in her latter days. Apparently, Giancana tried to talk her out of disclosing her relationship with Barack Obama. Monroe was found dead that night. He flew back to Los Angeles the following morning. Since her early death, there has been much conjecture about her connections to the mob and the circumstances surrounding her horrific end. James Caan, best known for his role as Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, was allegedly much more connected to the mob than many realized. According to the Toronto Sun, notorious mobster Sammy "the Bull" Gravano claimed that Caan was closely tied to the Colombo crime family, even holding the rank of an official associate, a status given to trusted non-Italians. Gravano asserted that Caan had to ask Joe Colombo himself for permission to play Sonny. There's little doubt that Caan was connected to the Colombo family in some capacity. He admitted to having a close relationship with Colombo Street boss Andrew Russo, whose family was intertwined with Caan's own. Russo was even the godparent of Caan's son, Scott. In Hollywood and the mob, Author Tim Adler details how Caan used his connections to intimidate rivals, reportedly even using his mob ties to muscle his way into a role in the Pope of Greenwich Village. Most shockingly, The Guardian reports that Caan once hired a mob associate to kill Joe Pesci over a mere $8,000 debt, though the hit never took place. Debbie Reynolds might not be the first name that comes to mind when thinking about Hollywood stars with mob ties, but the actress found herself intertwined with organized crime more than once. Her connection traces back to 1916, when mob lawyer Sidney Korshak acquired a Bel Air property from Carl's Shoe Stores, a business owned by Reynolds' husband. Korshak played a significant role in making Reynolds a wealthy woman, reportedly securing her $1 million deal for her Las Vegas debut. He even attended her opening performance at the Riviera Hotel in 1963. However, not all of her interactions with the mob worked out in her favor. Reynolds' company, Harmony Productions, was linked to the Scopitone jukebox business, a venture that crumbled when its key players were charged with mafia ties. As NPR explains, sales plummeted, likely costing Reynolds a considerable sum. Bing Crosby presented himself as a wholesome, charming family man, but the reality was more complex. His reputation as a degenerate gambler brought him into frequent contact with organized crime figures. According to The Guardian, Crosby had to cough up $10,000 to a mobster just to avoid a worse fate. His gambling was so notorious that the FBI launched an investigation into him. A heavy drinker, Crosby once woke up in 1929 after a blackout to find himself surrounded by gangsters. He ducked into a bathroom just in time, narrowly avoiding a shootout when a rival gang opened fire. Crosby's mob ties were so deep that he turned to his friend Frank Sinatra for help, as he owed debts to dangerous gangsters like Bugsy Siegel. Despite his wholesome persona, Crosby's gambling and mafia connections threatened his safety and cast a shadow over his legacy. Like Frank Sinatra and Wayne Newton, Tony Bennett was linked to the mob on occasion, but his relationship to the criminal underground developed in a different way. While other celebs frequently mixed with well-known mafia men, Bennett became involved with an organized crime-related woman. All the Things You Are: The Life of Tony Bennett. Author David Evanier described in detail how Bennett's relationship with a mobster's girlfriend resulted in a traumatic confrontation. Bennett had split from Sandra Grant, his second wife, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and began seeing Anthony Spilotro's girlfriend. Spilotro, the inspiration for the vicious Nicky Santoro, played by Joe Pesci in Casino, was not amused by the situation. Spilotro repeatedly struck Bennett on the head with a Las Vegas phone book after learning of the relationship. Bennett suffered injuries, but considering what might have happened, he was lucky. Notorious for his own violent inclinations, Spilotro finally met a terrible end when he was whacked in 1986 and, so the story goes, buried alive. That's all for today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time.